What's going on, guys? Gomes here back again on another MLB The Show 18 Diamond Dynasty video, and today I want to talk about 5 new legends or immortals. I don't really know if immortals are going to be in the game next year. Of course, I think they will be, but I'm not absolutely 100% sure. They haven't really said whether they're going to be in MLB 19 or not. But either way, these are my top 5 legends that I would really like to see added into the game. Some have been in MLB before because some of them recently retired, but nonetheless, they are all legends that I would really want, and I think you guys would really want in MLB The Show as well. Keep in mind that Immortals have stats accumulating of all seasons, so it basically combines their best power season, their best speed season, their best contact season. So I'm just going to be using a single season for each legend because, like I said, I don't really know if they are going to be Immortals in next year. These guys, they probably won't be added this year, I can pretty much guarantee you, because they already said all the new legends have already been introduced into the game. But nonetheless, here are my top 5. Coming first on my list, that is in no particular order, just 5 legends that I really would like to see introduced into MLB The Show, is Roberto Clemente. Of course, if you guys have been on my channel for a while, you do know Roberto Clemente is one of my favorite baseball players of all time. Of course, the tragic death that he had, really sad, but I would really like to see him in MLB The Show, and I've seen a lot of people on my videos comment that they would like to see him as well. From 1967, I pulled this stat line. He batted .357 with a .554 slug, 23 home runs. He had 59 extra base hits in total and 110 RBIs. Now, he would be a really good hitter. Of course, Roberto Clemente was, he actually ended his career right at 3,000 hits, which I thought was really cool. Like I said, .357 batting average, so you know he's going to have a lot of contact, and especially I would assume next year they would have the stats go up to 125 just like this year, because I do like they introduced that. It helps just kind of differentiate, you know, the elite players right now from like the all-time legends. So I really do like that, and I hope they keep that in next year. So his contact both ways is going to be really high, probably close to 125 each. Of course, I'm pretty sure they didn't measure splits, you know, versus right versus left all the way back then, all those years past, so we can't really know versus righties versus lefties that much. But 554 slug, he should have a good amount of power, nothing crazy, but he should probably have, for an immortal, or if he is an immortal, if he's in the game though, damn it, he is going to be an immortal, I'd say he definitely have like 80-90 power aside. And of course, he had a lot of extra base hits, but his fielding and his arm strength is something that's really going to make this card good, because honestly, like Ted Williams, he's always in the game, really good hitting stats, but his fielding and his speed always subpar. Roberto Clemente, I would bet, would probably have around 65 speed, and he'd probably have close to a 90 arm. He definitely packed a cannon, and I would really like to see him in the game. You guys know I like him a lot, and I think you guys would like him as well. Up next is my favorite baseball player of all time, and that is, of course, Pedro Martinez. In my opinion, he's one of, if not he's one of the best starting pitchers of all time. I don't really think you can debate that. I'm not calling him the best, but he definitely is top 5 all-time starters, at least in my opinion. And like I said, I think you guys will agree with me. He had 3 Cy Young awards in his career. He played for the Dodgers, the Expos, which are now the Nationals, of course, the Red Sox, the Mets, played for a good amount of teams. Of course, by the time he was with the Mets, he wasn't necessarily himself, but in his prime, I would say, was with the Red Sox, and that was about the turn of the century, 2000, and that's where I'm going to pull his stat line from, actually his Cy Young Award year. So if he's not an immortal, they could call him a hardware card for his Cy Young Award win. He had a 1.74 ERA, a .167 opponent batting average, or OBA, 0.74 walks and hits per inning pitched, or whip, 284 strikeouts in 7 complete games, 4 of them being complete game shutouts. Pedro Martinez had an absolute dominant year. Eventually, he would help the Red Sox go on to win the 2004 World Series, but 2000, in my opinion, was his best year for Pedro Martinez. A 167 opponent batting average. You know that hits per 9 is going to be insanely high, probably near like the 110, 115 mark. He did not allow hits. And his ERA too, there's not really a stat to reflect ERA except for pitch and clutch when guys are on base, because when they did get on base with him, the few minimal times that happened, they didn't score. I think he only allowed about 45 earned runs an entire season. Absolutely insane. He led the MLB in ERA. ERA. Like I said, 0.74 whip. He had 284 strikeouts. This wasn't his biggest strikeout year, but this was the best year that he had from strikeout to walk ratio. So his walks per 9 is going to be really good because control I always find really important in MLB The Show. So I want to make sure that he has good control. You can locate your pitches when you get right on the meter, right on the pitching analog. It's going to go right where you want to go, and that's going to help you get strikeouts, sometimes even more than K9. And of course, 7 complete games. He threw a lot of innings. A workhorse should definitely have about 110 stamina or something like that, in my opinion. Pedro Martinez, like I said, nothing else about it. His resume speaks for himself. Please, SDS, if you listen to one guy on this list, make it be that man. A-Rod, A-God, the Bronx Bomber, whichever you want to call him, please bring him back into the show. I know he retired in 2016, so unfortunately they lost his rights, but I think A-Rod would probably be into being on the show. He's a very public person, and I think they definitely could get him into the game. They just have to pay him a little bit of money, of course. What in this world cannot be accomplished with money? But Alex Rodriguez, we're going to look in his Seattle days, and a lot of you guys can probably remember this card from MLB The Show 16. This is a card art from that season. 1996, he had a 358 batting average, 631 slug, 36 home runs, 91 total extra base hits, and 123 RBIs. The thing about A-Rod, that hitting stats were insane, but he also had tremendous speed and tremendous defensive stats in not only MLB The Show, but also just in his real life counterparts. So I believe he would have around 80 speed, something like that. I think his card was a shortstop that year because, of course, he didn't move to third base until he moved to New York with, you know, the whole Jeter situation. But really good defensive stats for A-Rod, which is really important. I do not like having guys, I don't like having defensive liabilities out there. So A-Rod, he can do it he can do it all, but contact, power. He's a 5'2" player, contact, power, arm, fielding, speed. He does it all. 358 batting average, 631 slug. The contact, the power is both going to be there a lot, of course. The vision might not be the highest. He did strike out a little bit, especially eventually when he got to New York. But looking at his Seattle card, this card would be insane. He does everything, like I said. I don't know, a lot of people might not want him just because, you know, the whole steroid thing. Some people are kind of turned off by that, but in my opinion, he would make a great addition to Diamond Dynasty because there's not a lot of great shortstops that are usually in the game. Ever since he left, they keep nerfing Tulo and Hanley's cards, so really all we got is Cal Ripken Jr. Give us A-Rod. Why not go back to back on guys both caught using steroids? Manny Ramirez. I really want him into the game. I mean, he was not only a great player, he was funny, man. I don't know if you guys remember, but the whole Fenway Wall situation where he just walked into there, very, very funny. He was a really funny player, especially when he went to Boston, of course. His best years, I think, were in Cleveland, but he helped the Red Sox win 2 rings in 04 and 07. Then eventually he went to the Dodgers, and I think he ended his career actually with the Rays. He played like 5 games, and then he got busted. He retired. I think he's actually playing in Japan now, but 2000 again is the season we're going to look at. 351 batting average, 697 slugging percentage, 38 home runs, 74 extra base hits, 122 RBIs in 439 at-bats. You know, those numbers compare directly pretty much to A-Rod, who had over 600 at-bats. He had 2 more home runs and 1 less RBI, and the extra base hits would have pretty much been the same. Manny Ramirez, if he would have got like 60 at-bats in that season, probably could have hit about 50 home runs. And then we're talking insane numbers, but still Manny, he was faster back then. He was an all-right defensive player. He was never elite, I would say, but he was better in his Cleveland years because, of course, when he got to Boston and especially Los Angeles, he definitely became a liability defensively. But nonetheless, Manny Ramirez, he was a great hitter. Not much else you can say about it. His vision should be high, contact and power, both up in the stratospheres, as you guys know. Planet Rarity, Immortal. Manny Ramirez, not only, like I said, great player, funny guy. Please bring him into MLB The Show, I beg you. And finally, let's close it out with one of the best closers of all time, the Sandman, Mariano Rivera. It was hard for me to pick a direct year because he had so many great ones, so many great years, postseasons. I did settle on 1999 for Mariano Rivera. He won the American League Reliever of the Year award that season. He had a 1.83 ERA, a .176 opponent batting average, 0.88 WHIP, 52 strikeouts, and he had 45 saves out of 49 possibilities. So he did blow 4 saves. Not everybody's perfect. Nobody's perfect, actually, but Mariano Rivera, he would have an insane hit 9 and walk 9 in my opinion. He had really good control. His cutter was insane. I think that was definitely his best pitch. I remember, of course, I live in Minnesota. The Twins on his farewell tour actually made him a chair of broken bats. I'll try to pull up a picture right now. Really, it was all against the Twins too. That cutter was insane. Definitely his best pitch in my opinion. Mariano Rivera wasn't necessarily a big time strikeout guy. You know, he never really had an insane K9, but in the game I'm sure he would still rack up a good 80, 85, 90 even for K9, but hits and control is really where we're gonna see Mariano shine, and of course pitching clutch. When it comes to October, there's not many other guys who you would want rather than Mariano Rivera to close out the games for you. And that's gonna do it for my top 5 wanted legends slash immortals we don't really know yet. Cards I would love to see come into MLB The Show. Maybe this year, probably not though, but maybe hopefully next year we can see at least 1 or 2 of these guys on this list make it. These are my personal favorites who I would love to see come into MLB The Show. Make sure to let me know who you guys would like to see come into MLB The Show next season or the next few seasons down below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to like down below. My Twitter and Instagram links will be down below in the description and in the comments section. Make sure to check that out. Follow your boy, but hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and there you guys comes out. Yeet.
Love is love, and hate is hate. To die is an awesome adventure, and I can hardly wait. Earth is a prison, I need a great escape. You know I'm in my zone when I'm up in outer space. You know I'm in my zone when I'm up in outer space. You know I'm in my zone when I'm up in outer space. You know I'm in my zone. You know I'm in my zone. I took a bite of the glory.